Hey, what's up guys, Grace here and welcome to a new Anthem Cataclysm guide series I'm going to be covering here on this channel. This series was made possible thanks to your amazing support and, well, mainly because many of you asked me to do it. There's definitely a lot more in the Cataclysm than most people are willing to give credit for, and the better you get at familiarizing yourself with the events and the mechanics in it, the more fun you will have. But most important of all, the more efficient you will become at getting more of the high-end gear and loot that everybody is looking for. So today I'm going to go over a full guide for each of the 7 arenas or main events that can be found in the new map. These make up the core of the Cataclysm experience, but are most definitely not the only piece of content in there. In fact, there are a lot of secret areas, bonus events and more, but that will have to wait for a later video. In the meantime, let's go over some general rules before moving on the strategy guide itself. First, while playing with an organized group is preferred, it's not absolutely mandatory. You can definitely solo all of the 7 arena events, as you will soon come to find out, but some of these might become a bit more complicated as a result. Second of all of these work around one single objective: to destroy the big crystal in the middle and reduce the effects of the Cataclysm. The question is, how are you going to achieve that? Each and every single one of these arenas will feature different puzzles, and in today's video I'm going to show you how to complete each one of them. With that out of the way, let's begin with the Eye of Magnus, the first arena you see right ahead once you spawn in the Cataclysm map. The puzzle here is rather simple. You have the barrier crystal in the middle and 7 control rods encircling it. To take down the barrier and have the crystal exposed, you have to activate all of the 7 control rods, all while having to deal with several waves of very dangerous enemies. The catch here is that these rods only stay activated for a limited amount of time, about 30 seconds to a minute at most. So once you activated the first rod, you will have to fully commit on activating the rest as well, otherwise you will waste a lot of precious time that you don't have. There are a number of strategies you can employ here, and if you play in a party, it's definitely going to be much easier. As your team distracts the enemies, one of the members can go ahead and just activate the rods pretty much uninterrupted. But if you're planning to do it solo, then you can either finish off all of the enemy waves that get to spawn, including of course the named Fury, and only then move on to the actual rods, or go straight to activating them as soon as you get in the area, while simultaneously dodging all incoming attacks. If you're a total beginner, then I suggest you finish off the enemy waves first before worrying about more complicated strategies. And of course, if you activate the rods fast enough, you can even get a named Valkyrie to spawn, which is a part of a very cool achievement track. I will post a full guide on how to spawn all of the Valkyries later on, and also how to complete that awesome achievement. The next closest event is the Britaheim Event on the right side of the map, directly north to your spawn point, and the event over here can, in theory, be done solo, but only with the Storm Javelin. Pretty much every other class is too slow for this type of puzzle, unfortunately, so I was only able to do it solo with the Storm. However you choose to proceed, the crystal barrier can only be shut off when all of the 5 echo devices in the area are filled with the echoes in the area. 4 of these echoes can be found in the first area outside, protected by shield barriers, while the 5th one is underwater past an instability gate and under a protective bubble. For the first 4 echoes on the surface level, generally speaking, at least 2 players are going to be needed. One to step on the pressure plates, while the other one to take the echo once the barrier is gone. If you're trying to solo these, then again, only the Storm class can do it because it's the only one that has instant teleportation. The best way to do it is to first make sure you have a bit of momentum when stepping on the plate, and then instantly dodge into the exposed echo. So do that 4 times, grab all of the 4 echoes if you can with 2 players, or 3 at first and 1 later if you're soloing it, and then proceed to go in the underwater tunnel. Once there, use the first 2 echoes on the 2 devices you see there so that the door barrier is deactivated, otherwise you will lose the echoes if you go through it. Then after that is done, proceed into the back room with the 5th echo in the middle on the pillar itself, and again use the last 2 echoes on the device located on each side of the room. There's going to be 2 in total, 1 on the right and 1 on the left. Once that is done, grab the 5th echo in the middle, and after this it's pretty much done. All you have to do is grab the rest of the echoes in any order you want to, bring them to the surface and place them in the devices back in the first area. Placing all 5 will remove the barrier and have the crystal exposed once more for you to destroy and finish this event. Moving on, we have Cassia's Forge, which is a rather simple event that can be done 100% solo. The puzzle here involves silencing a relic using 4 fragments hidden behind 2 doors, 1 door on each side of the cave to the left and to the right. The trick here is navigating through the instability barriers that protects them, which is a little bit tricky. The easiest way to do it is to jump in whichever room you want first, be it the left one or the right one, grab the first fragment and only pass through the exit once the barrier is gone. The same goes for the main road, which goes back to the relic. Wait for the mechanism to cycle through them and only then proceed forward, otherwise the yellow barrier will make you lose the fragments and bring them back to the area. There's also a cooldown on them before you can get them back, and after you repeat this process 4 times for all of the 4 fragments, you will then expose the crystal once more and have it destroyed, which is really easy. The 4th event is Castle Kelrik, and this one involves moving relics and matching symbols. There are 4 relics in total here, with about a dozen or so symbols in groups of 2 all around the area. 2 relics are on the left side and the other 2 are on the right side, but one on each of the sides is behind a protective barrier while the others are not. So you'll need to use the first 2 free relics to open each barrier door one by one, and to open them you have to check the symbols at the top of these doors and then take the first 2 relics and place them in the corresponding symbol holders. These symbols can be scattered anywhere inside the area, so make sure you keep an eye out for them, but generally speaking they are very easy to spot and very well indicated. Once you match the 2 symbols for the first door, it will open up, so go ahead and repeat the same process for the second door as well. Once all of the 4 relics are out, all you have left is the final stage, which is exposing the crystal located inside the tower in the middle of the section. Each of its 4 walls will feature a symbol that you need to match with the 4 relics you now have, so find them inside the area, place the relics accordingly, and this will immediately expose the crystal for you to destroy, and that is pretty much it. The 5th event is called Diana's Landing, straight up north from the previous Kelrik Castle event. This is probably the easiest event out of all of the existing ones in the game, as it involves simply clearing out several waves of enemies up until the Rift Master shows up. I suggest holding up your ultimate up until this point so you can take him down faster, and once he's defeated, he will drop a key. Go ahead, take the key that drops from him, and then proceed to activate the 2 control points indicated on each side of the arena. This will turn up the barrier and expose the crystal so you can then destroy it, and you will be done with this event as well. The 6th arena is called Sea of Takaro. This is another multi-section puzzle that can be easily soloed. This one requires bringing 3 echoes through an upside down waterfall in the middle, but the catch here is that midway through there is an instability barrier that will make you lose the echoes if you pass through it. Additionally, there are 3 pyramid weights scattered around the place. One can be found on the outer wall inside a room without any protective barriers. This is the first one you will want to grab, and there's also a couple more for each of the rooms on the left and the right side of the arena, but they are behind protective barriers. You will need these weights if you're playing solo to activate 3 pressure plates that control all of the protective barriers in the area, including the one in the waterfall tunnel. So place them one by one without ever crossing a yellow barrier with them, and once that is done, grab the 3 echoes on each of the 3 devices that you see in there and step in the middle tunnel up until the top to place the echoes and reveal the barrier that exposes the crystal, and that is pretty much it. The 7th and final arena is the Crucible of Astrid on the right side of Vera's room, or on the top right corner of the map. This one I would technically qualify as being downright unsoloable and should be even treated as such, and I'm saying this because the only way to complete it as a solo player at the moment is through the usage of glitches, and again, even for those, it only works with the Storm Javelin. But outside of that, 2 players are more than enough to complete the Crucible of Astrid. Your goal here is to place 4 echoes and activate 4 pressure plates at the end of the back tunnel to turn on an energy beam that lets you destroy the barrier. To get there, one player needs to control the echo device just outside of the door, as there's a sequence of turning on and offs that needs to be done to be able to navigate the multi-section tunnel. So first, have somebody grab the crystal right outside of the tunnel barrier and bring it to the device at the edge of the cliff on the left side of the arena. This will activate a beam that destroys the barrier on the left side wall, thus exposing the 4 remaining echoes. From here on, have the party members grab all of the echoes, and once outside of the area, the 5th one from the beam device can also be taken by a different player. From here, the next phase is going to be all about the tunnel area. So the player with the 1 echo is going to stay outside and exclusively control the door mechanism with the echo itself. First, without even introducing the echo yet, the 2 players holding the 4 echoes should enter the first section of the tunnel without passing to the second one. Then the door mechanism can be activated by the first player, closing down the exit but also opening up the way ahead. Once in the back, all of the 4 echoes can be placed in their respective devices to complete the first part of the puzzle, and that is pretty much the hardest part to complete. There's also a convenient teleportation device that brings players back to the start of the arena if they want to use it, but otherwise the tunnel can also be opened up back. From here, if there's a full party of 4, then all of the players can step on the pressure plates to activate the final device that lets you finish the event. If there are not enough players though, or you're playing solo, then you can also make use of the pyramid weights scattered outside the arena itself. In any case, any player can activate 2 plates at the same time by simply pressing the first one and then dashing into the second one, as long as the other 2 are also activated. As for soloing this part, you will need to alternate between carrying the echoes themselves, because you can only carry 3 of them, the weight, and also opening the gate and passing through it on your own. Again, this is super complicated and it only works with the Storm Javelin, as I was saying, but even that is quite unreliable. You will need to activate the door device while dashing into the entrance, as you only have a split second before the barrier will block your path. It's really time consuming if you don't know what you're doing, or if you don't find the perfect angle and the perfect timing to dash, but the entire puzzle can definitely be soloed with a storm, as you can see right now on the screen. I've definitely done it before. I have also done it with only 1 additional player. Again, you have to do some alternating between opening the door and bringing in the echoes and the waves themselves, but it's not really that complicated once you put your finger on it. It's really simple, and you can even solo it if you try it enough, but you will need a few testing phases before you do that, because you need to find that perfect angle to dash in and not get blocked by the barrier itself. But with that, I believe we have covered all of the 7 arenas in the Cataclysm map. I hope this guide made things clear for you, and if you still have questions left, then don't hesitate to comment them down below. I'm going to try to answer to as many as possible. In the meantime, also don't forget to leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe and activate the notification bell for more awesome content like this, and I will see you guys next time, so peace out.